Today, we're going to talk about the foundation of any successful project. We'll be digging into one of the most critical, but maybe one of the most overlooked phases, project chartering. So let's get right into it.
You know, have you ever looked at a brand new hospital or a towering skyscraper and just wondered, where does something like that even start? Before a single piece of equipment shows up on site, every single one of those projects had to answer a really fundamental question. Should we even be doing this? And that's exactly where our story starts. At its heart, project chartering is just that. It's the formal process of taking an idea, really kicking the tires on it, proving it's worth the investment, and then finally giving it the official green light. You can think of it as the ultimate gatekeeper that stands between a cool idea and a fully funded, ready-to-go initiative. So why is this gatekeeper so important? Well, it all comes down to a challenge that every single organization on the planet faces. You can't do everything. You have limited resources. So you've got to be smart about choosing which battles are actually worth fighting. Every company, whether it's a small local contractor or a giant global firm, has to be strategic. The point isn't just to be busy, right? The goal is to pick the projects that truly align with where the company wants to go, that deliver the biggest bang for the buck, and that use your precious time, money, and people in the absolute best way possible. Okay, so how do leaders actually make these huge calls? Well, it's definitely not a guessing game. They use a really powerful toolkit of analytical methods to, stress test these ideas and separate the promising ones from the ones that could turn into total money pits. First up is a true classic, cost-benefit analysis, or CBA. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. Let's say a contractor is thinking about investing in some new automated concrete batching equipment. CBA helps them put the upfront cost on one side of the scale and the long-term savings from fewer mistakes and less rework on the other. If those benefits outweigh the costs, well, you've got yourself a pretty strong case. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because numbers like these, they tell a story. Let's imagine a company is looking at a $2 million investment in something like building information modeling, or BIM. A positive net present value tells you that, over the long run, this project will make more money than it costs in today's dollars. That 25% ROI, that's a huge return. And a 3-year payback period, that means the tech pays for itself super fast. Together, these numbers give you the hard data you need to confidently say yes. But here's the thing, and it's so important to remember this. As crucial as those financials are, the best decisions are never made on spreadsheets alone. The story is always, always bigger than just the numbers. And that's where these non-financial factors come into play. For example, think about a university that's expanding its campus. Choosing to use sustainable, eco-friendly materials might cost more upfront, but the long-term boost to their brand and the trust they build with students and the community, that can be absolutely priceless. Things like that are just as strategic as any ROI calculation. All right, so once an idea has been poked and prodded and has proven that it's a winner, it's time to make things official. And this isn't random. It follows a very clear, structured path from a good argument to a formal go-ahead. This journey really has 3 key stops. First up, you have the business case. This is the project story. It explains why it's needed and what it's going to achieve. Next, you do the feasibility study. This is the ultimate reality check. Do we actually have the technology, the money, the legal approvals to pull this off? And then, if it passes all those tests, you get to the final destination, the project charter. I just love this analogy. The project charter is, without a doubt, the project's official birth certificate. It's the piece of paper that says this project is real. It exists. It gives the project manager the authority they need to start using company resources, and it really sets the stage for everything that comes next. And a strong charter is so much more than just paperwork. It's the project's entire game plan. It covers the why behind the project. It defines exactly what success looks like. It maps out the key milestones, and it even calls out the potential risks to watch out for. It locks in a budget, and, this is crucial, it gets that sponsor approval, which makes sure everyone from the top down is on the same page. So let's bring this all home. Why is taking the time to go through this whole chartering process so absolutely essential? Why is it a non-negotiable for any project, big or small? This quote just says it all. Can you imagine trying to build a skyscraper without a detailed architectural plan? It would be total chaos. Well, the charter is what prevents that chaos. It stops things like scope creep and budget overruns before they can even start. For example, if the charter clearly says this is a 3-story office building, it gives the project manager the power to say no when a stakeholder later asks, "Hey, can we add a gym on the 4th floor?" That one document just saved a ton of time and money. That is the power of a good blueprint. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. If you want a project to be executed well, you have to start it well. That early phase of thinking, justifying, and authorizing isn't just boring paperwork. It is the strategic foundation that all future success is built on.
This old piece of wisdom from the construction world just captures the spirit of project chartering perfectly. It's all about being careful, planning properly, and making the smart calls up front so that when it's finally time to build, you can do it right and with confidence the first time. Thanks so much for joining me.